Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. We are going to talk about the things that you can do to make sure that your application process will go smoothly and that you'll get hired fast. So if that is something that you are interested to know, make sure to stay tuned and watch till the end of this video, because towards the end I'll give you a secret to something that a lot of Filipino teachers who are applying to work in the US is struggling. The hiring season for teacher applicants for US will be starting around January. So around that time, you can expect visa sponsors to already start their initial interviews. You can expect that they are also starting to ask you to turn in documents. And then whether your application is fast or slow really depends on how fast you work on your documents. So make sure to take note of these things that you can do so that your application again will be smooth and that you'll get hired fast. The first one, of course, is make sure that you have the basic eligibility to work in the US in the first place. So what are these things? You want to make sure that you have the correct bachelor's degree. If your degree is not in education, then you should be able to show certification or any proof that you have taken the extra courses or bridging program in order to qualify you to take the licensure exam for teachers. You should have a minimum of 2 years relevant teaching experience. So if you are applying to be a math teacher in the US, your teaching experience should be at least 2 years teaching math. You should also be currently teaching full-time. So you cannot be just tutoring or substituting for somebody, or you are working at a review center. So those are not counted. So make sure if you want to work in the US and you are not currently teaching, so next school year you may want to start applying to be a teacher in your home country first so that you'll be eligible to apply. The next thing is for you to be really organized. So make sure to create a folder in your computer where you will be saving all of your scanned documents. All of these documents should be original or certified true copies. You are going to scan them. So make sure that all these documents are accessible, so put them in just one folder. The visa sponsors will be asking you to turn in scanned copies of these things that are related to your academic and professional credentials. Diploma, your valid teaching license, your TOR for each of the degree that you have earned. You also need to scan your certificate of employment. You just need to scan certificate of employment from your employment that's related to the post you're applying for. For instance, if for a year you work as a manager somewhere else, not in the classroom, then you don't need to turn that in because it will not count toward your years of experience, and also it will not count toward your salary computation. You also need to scan copies of the following. Your property titles can be vehicle like motor cycle, tricycle if you have that, jeepney, car, or house and lot if you have an apartment, if you own a business, so scan that. Loan statement that shows maturity date. Insurance policy that also shows maturity date. So the maturity date should not be earlier than, the estimated time that you are in the US. So it should be at a later date, for instance, when the program is over, right? And then retirement plans. So I know some of you do not have like the, insurance policy retirement plans with private institutions, but you can turn in your SSS, your GSIS. You can also turn in Pag-ibig, PhilHealth, those things from the government. If you have your credit card statement, scan that as well. If you are able to obtain letter from your current employer that you will still have that post when you come back from the US after the program, then scan that too. But a lot of teachers don't do this because it's quite difficult to obtain. And all the home ties, anyway, you're not required to turn all of them in. There's like just a minimum requirement. So, but these are the things that you can turn in for home ties. Bank statement for the last 3 months, it should have at least 100,000 pesos or 2,000 US dollars. Also scan the following for your identification: your birth certificate or your kid's certificate, your husband's certificate if they are coming with you. If you are married and your husband is also coming with you, you have to also scan your marriage certificate. Your driver's license, your NBI clearance. I know that this one has like an expiration as well, so make sure that you get the international one, because I think the expiration for that is a year. And then, so the NBI clearance, for those who are not from the Philippines, this is your home country's criminal record clearance. I don't know what it's called in your country, but I'm sure you know. So those are the things that you need to scan. Make sure again that these things that you're scanning are either the original copy or certified true copies, and put all of those in one folder for easy access. Because if you have this ready, then when the time comes that you are applying, turning in things, you are able to do this in one sitting. Third thing that you can do to make sure that your application is fast and that you'll get hired fast is to turn in your transcript of record for foreign credential evaluation. So get ready to pay for this one because it has a cost that you have to pay for as an applicant. So it could be from $160 or it can be higher. Some visa sponsors refund this if the application of the teacher is successful. So once the teacher is in the US, the visa sponsor is going to reimburse this amount. But if the application is not successful, then it's considered an expense on your side. I have a link to the National Association for Credential Evaluation Services in the description below. The most popular among J1 visa applicants are WES and Spantran. If you want to know how much the total cost for the application, I invite you to watch my video about that. I have a video that I created comparing the total cost when you do your application by direct hire versus when you do it with the help of a placement agencies. Definitely try to look at that video. And I also have a video about preparation tips in order to know that I have new uploads that can be really helpful with your application process. I invite you to subscribe to my channel and check out my playlist about teaching in the US. The fourth one that you need to do in order to make sure that you get hired fast is to polish your English communication skills. As a foreign teacher, it is acceptable that we sound differently than the Americans. It is acceptable that we have a certain accent, as long as the accent is not interfering with understanding of the students when we are doing our classes. It should not be a problem because they're used to having so many different nationalities in the US. So listening to people speaking in different accent is fine. So you should not worry about your accent, but you can also obviously improve on your accent, because I have to tell you, this can be a reason for some of the kids to make fun of you if you have a thick accent, since in the whole process they will not require teacher applicants to turn in any English language certification like the IELTS or the TOEFL. The way for them to assess your English proficiency is during the interviews, how you respond to emails, on the video introduction that you will be turning in. I have a vlog about creating video introduction when you're applying. So if you have not seen that video, I suggest that you do, and you will see there what an introduction video looks like. So how can you improve on your English communication skills? If teaching your classes in English is not yet how you are conducting your classes, then you should start as soon as you can. Of course, you may argue that the students might complain that they are not able to understand you clearly because they want you to speak in the vernacular. At this point, you have to remember that your goal is to get hired fast in the US. In the meantime, we can say that it can be heartless, but actually, if you are teaching classes that are supposed to be taught in English, then the students should not be complaining about you teaching the class in English. The initial interview is a deal breaker. So a lot of teachers have not gone beyond the initial interview because the visa sponsors think that the English communication skill is lacking. It's not acceptable. So you really want to make sure that you are able to do well on that initial interview. I also suggest for you to watch YouTube videos. There are so many resources that you can find in YouTube. You just have to be very resourceful and creative. Watch them over and over again. Soon I will be also making a vlog about interviews during the application, so definitely watch out for that. Most of the communications that you will have with a visa sponsor and your employers will be through email exchanges and also the video calls. So make sure to read the email several times so that you know that you have understood it clearly. And before you send your response, maybe you can ask someone to read your response first, or if you're confident enough, go ahead and send it right away. Well, anyway, during the interview, make sure that you are listening well. Again, the accent is not important, but they should see in you that you have the basic comprehension. So listen well and then be direct to the point. There are no correct answers because the interview questions are not like objective type questions, but they will see if you have understood them, if your answers are related to the question. So it's direct to the point. Avoid being too wordy with your answer because they're actually interviewing a lot of people, so time is really, really important for them. So in a short amount of time, they should be able to see in you the level of communication skills that they are looking for. So be confident. Again, make sure to prepare. Do not go to the interview without any preparations at all. Okay, for this one, a lot of Filipino teachers are struggling to make sure to have this. So if you want your application to be successful, to get hired fast, make sure that you obtain your driver's license. If you have a driver's license, the visa sponsor is not limited to looking for a match for you in big cities because that's where public transportation will be accessible. If they don't have a lot of options for you, then your application process will take longer. So any incomplete requirement will hinder your application process from moving forward. So suppose you already have all the other things except the driver's license, you can expect that they will still ask you to turn that in before they move forward with the rest of the process. You have to remember that although the teacher shortage in the US is high, the competition among foreign applicants is also as high. You should know that Filipinos are not the only applicants. You are not the only applicant. So you are competing against other applicants from the same country and also from other countries. That is why it is very important for you to work really fast on your documents, and that includes this dreaded driver's license. It's dreaded especially in the Philippines because we're not really used to driving. We are used to taking the public transportation, so it's not common for us to have driver's license, but it is a requirement. Even if you're not planning to drive in the US, or you are making arrangement with somebody you know who is already there, like you want to do carpooling, or you're planning to take the public transportation, or it's possible that your wife or your husband already has driver's license and you're planning for them to be your driver there. Remember that you are the applicant and not them. So you are the one who's going to turn in these things. Your name is the one that's going to appear in these documents. So if you are an applicant from the Philippines and you think you won't be able to get your driver's license because you don't know how to drive, I have some information to give you about that, but I'm not comfortable talking about that here on my YouTube channel. So I'm inviting you to join me. Follow me on my Facebook page. The link is down below. And you can send me direct message there and we can talk about this driver's license. Okay, you guys, I'm not a fixer, nor do I know any fixers. It's nothing like that. I just have some information to give you that will hopefully help you get some ideas on how to get driver's license here in our country. So I wish you all the best on your application. If you do these things that I suggested in this video, I guarantee you that your application process will go smoothly and then that you'll get hired fast. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.